Well, if you thought the economy was turning around, tariffs were going to go back to normal, and people were going to have their jobs safe and sound, well, you're wrong. Mass layoffs are still happening, it's actually spreading, and it's only getting worse. Today, we're going to talk about it. So make sure you stick around and watch this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. But first, before I do, all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So yes, layoffs are happening all around us. We are seeing it in the tech sector. We're seeing it with retail. We're even seeing it with the United States government. But it's only spreading.
So I just got laid off from my job. Now what?
That's what most people don't know. Now what? I just lost my job. And whether you were working for a retail store, an insurance company, maybe a hospital or a clinic, or the United States government, what do I do next? The problem is, for many people, they spend months and months and months trying to find their next job. The concern, though, is most people struggle to pay their bills to just make ends meet over that time. But again, like I said, things are actually getting worse. They're not getting better. They're getting worse.
So I got laid off today. Just something I've never experienced in my 32 years of life. I have always had a job. I think I'm still in shock. And I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do next. Which is a really weird but good feeling.
Interesting. It's a weird but good feeling. For some people, being laid off is what they need. Because for many Americans, they don't want to leave a job that they've had for several years. But here's what we're seeing right now. What we're seeing is certain people are getting laid off first. So senior employees or executives, these are the ones that usually have higher salaries. They get laid off first as a result of not just a restructuring, but what many companies are trying to do is lower cost, but to increase productivity. Well, how do you do that? Well, let's say you take somebody, let's say a senior executive that's making, let's say $250,000 a year. You take them and you replace that one person, with let's say 3 or 4 people that do all that person's job.
Monday, February the 10th, this is the first Monday after Microsoft implemented its mass layoff based on performance ranking. And I'm going to cover 2 things. First is what this means for employment law situations and employees. And number 2 is a game plan. Okay, before I proceed, I need to let you know that I don't fact check any of these things. I can only look at what's available on the news and what's on publicly available sources. So what we do know is that Microsoft notified people in writing last week, letting them know that they were selected for immediate layoff based on non-performance or failure to meet performance expectation. They were instructed to return company equipment and to comply with their confidentiality agreement. And interestingly enough, that this performance ranking will be considered in future employment applications at Microsoft. So let's talk about the first thing. Number 1 is that this changes the playing field in employment law. You can no longer afford to wait until there's an adequate reason to be terminated. Just week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter, where you rank in the organization is grounds for a layoff. So if you're ranked low in your organization, you have to fight for it because you have to fight against it, because being tagged as the low performance band is the same as being recommended for termination immediately. So you can't be passive about it anymore. So this transition to my next topic, and that is what is our game plan moving forward. You have to be very aggressive. When you have one-on-ones with your managers, you have to get copies of it. If it's positive, great. If not, dispute it and put it in the file so that your manager is less likely to rank you low if it's contested continuously. Number two, if you're getting good performance evaluation, save that. If you have documentation that says you're doing well in your job, save that so that you have enough records to fight being laid off in the future and have a chance of a severance package, because you have the receipts to prove that you were ranked improperly as a low performer. And this goes along with preserving enough information to show that you're performing and meeting expectations. So moving forward, don't be passive, fight for it. And unfortunately, you're kind of fighting against coworkers, all coworkers, and where you rank in the organization. Okay, back to work.
It's cutting 20,000 jobs due to fewer Amazon shipments. Okay, here's another story. By the way, these stories are real. I'm not telling you they're not real, but the CEO's job is to tell the story in a completely different way. UPS announced it will cut another 20,000 jobs, roughly 4% of its workforce, and close 73 facilities to reduce costs. This decision stems from a significant reduction in shipment volumes from its largest customer, Amazon, which accounted for 11.8% of UPS overall revenue in 2024, and broader economic uncertainty due to Trump's administration tariffs, right? CEO Carol Tome stated, the actions we are taking to reconfigure our network and reduce costs across the business could not be timelier. The job cuts follow UPS's January statement with Amazon to reduce Amazon's shipping volume by 50% by the second half of 2026, alongside a slowdown in global trade impacting parcel delivery firms. Additionally, UPS faces reduced volume from China-linked e-commerce platforms. It's cutting 20,000 jobs.
So we have UPS laying off 20,000 employees, and also Microsoft has announced that they are laying off employees as well.
We have breaking news right now. UPS has announced that it will be cutting 20,000 jobs this year because of cost-cutting measures, because of fewer deliveries from Amazon. Layoffs will impact about 4% of its workforce. Now, you want to know why there are fewer deliveries from Amazon? Because people are purchasing less right now because the economy's not as great. And also, there are fewer imports coming into America because of tariffs and higher costs. This move, according to CBS News, is part of UPS's plan to consolidate its facilities and workforce. It'll close about 73 buildings as well by the end of June 2025. But in today's regulatory filing, UPS said, quote, the cuts are in connection with our anticipation of lower volumes from our largest company. And as a result of this consolidation plan, UPS is expected to save more than $3.5 billion in revenue just this year. We'll see what happens next, but know that cost cuts are coming for UPS. Job cuts are coming. Spread the word. I'll do a full breakdown on my Substack, link to my bio, so subscribe for free and follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Yeah, for sure. So UPS announced that they're laying off 20,000 due to Trump's tariffs. It might be due to Trump's tariffs. UPS does layoffs often. There's this website that I actually use that probably nobody even knows about, because I want to know what the jobs are going to look like in 6 months so that I can plan my business. So here's a new website for you that you can play around with. WarnTracker.com. WarnTracker.com. And then you can put in each individual company and actually view their history of layoffs in different states throughout time and get all of their different layoff data. So 20,000 is not something new to UPS. Now, you can break it down by state. I actually look at Warren Tracker because they start talking about pending layoffs. So how's the economy going to look in a couple of months? So I'll check this website every now and again. So they've had a number of times, innumerable times, where they've done layoffs of massive numbers. So maybe it's due to tariffs because they're not picking up the Amazon orders. Shipments have stopped. However, this is nothing new with UPS, right? They're a huge company. They've done massive layoffs annually, I would say, more often than you would think when you actually parse out and look at the data. So that's kind of where I am. If you want any in-depth information on any layoff information on any company, it does a great job. It tracks everything from 1988 to 2025 and gives you a bunch of data. Yeah, new website to play with.